But the big question that I've got is, could I explain the calendar? And I think there's a real panic going on because I mentioned the historical research I wanted you to do last week. Well, if you look at this thing, that's week 9. You've got a couple of months before you need to worry about that. What you need to do in order to stay current in this course is go to this calendar and look at the week and see what we're doing in that particular week. And you can look ahead if you like, but it's going to be pretty much real time. First week we had discussions about, what was it, open and closed thinking, creativity, the process of creativity. My favorite bit of this is that creativity is not a talent, it's a process. There's a way to do this. You don't have to be born with it or not. Creativity begins with the open mind process, the open process where you're taking anything and playing with it, like a little kid, it says. And you're just seeing where you can take this idea. Then in the closed mode, once you've got your ideas fixed and ready to go, then you start closing it in with form. But there's a process for doing this, and we're going to be talking about this. In the coffee house, we're talking about Coleridge, we're talking about Cleese. And that ran for the first week, and there was a lot of good stuff in there. There were a few things that I didn't think were so good, but there were also some things that I thought were really interesting. I don't always agree with everything, and I don't always respond to everyone either, but I like this open process of whatever you want to talk about, go ahead, let's talk about it. Second week, the personal persona in creative writing, the cup, the toy, and the lyric moment, Coffee House 2. What I did last night was I sat down and I said, okay, they got to write a poem. It's got to be about a cup. It's got to invoke a moment, and it's got to activate some of the senses. And so I sat down and I thought, a cup, a cup. And then I remembered this cup that I picked up once in Belgium. I was lost. I wasn't lost. I knew right where I was trying to go. It's just that you can't get there from here. It's an old walled city with a plaza right in the middle, and you can't drive across the plaza. And I was just bumfuzzled. How do you get from here to here? It's not that hard, but I spent an hour and a half driving around Bruges trying to find my way. So I parked and I bought this cup. I was thinking about my wife when I bought it. It was pretty. They didn't have any what I thought were manly cups in there. So I got this pretty cup that had this floral design in white and pink and red. And that was my excuse to get the guy to tell me, how do I get from here to there? And he said, well, you can't. You have to leave. Yeah, it's a walled city. What you do is you go outside the walls, and then you go around to the other side, and then you go in that gate, and you can get to where you want to go. But you can't get there from here. This city was built to be defended against invaders, and it's still a confusing place. Anyway, I decided, okay. And I sat down and started writing about that cup, and now there's a poem in there that I wrote. And a couple of other people had written the last time I had seen. Have any of you written yet? All from the other class? Okay. Anyway, think about it. What's the cup that invokes the memory of a particular moment in your life? And how does it feel? The stuff that's in there, what does it taste like? What does it smell like? What does it do to your head when you drink it? Stuff like that. And I've been using this prompt for many years now, and every time I sit down, I come up with a different poem. I never use the same cup twice, because that's kind of against the rules. I already did that cup. I'm going to do a new cup. And, so you do that. That's what's up for this week. Next week, We're going to start talking about lyric and narrative, voice and character. Then we'll imitate great structured poetry. You had asked a question about the journal, what's supposed to go in the journal. Well, the journal is you being a writer. What are the things that are on your mind? Why are you here? What do you expect to get out of this course? That journal is you talking to me, or you talking to yourself. One way to think about this journal is 10, 20, 30 years from now, you're going to pull this journal out and see where you were at this age, at this stage. And maybe it'll be fond memories, maybe it won't, but think of yourself as writing to yourself 20 years from now. What do you want to tell yourself 20 years from now about who you were today, this week, this semester?
So it has to do with your writing about this class and what we're doing in here, or just in everyday life?
Yeah.
Just whatever?
Whatever, but it needs to be significant. If there are things in this class that you want to write about, that's fine. If there are things in everyday life that are far more important to you, that's fine too. The goal of this thing is for you to write and write and write. You did sign up for a writing class, so I'm going to give you opportunities to write. The journal is a personal piece that you're writing to yourself with me looking at it, but I'm not going to judge you on it. I'm simply going to say, okay, she wrote a lot of words, that counts.
And is it something we write in a book, or we do it?
It needs to be digital. You mean in a book? You mean in a physical book with?
Like, I mean, are we doing it on the coffee house, or where do we go to
No,
write?
well, you're going into the journal.
Oh, okay.
The journal is just like the coffee house, except it's private. No one can see it except you and me. And that's just how that works. Dorothy used to sit right there. She decided not to stay in the course. In fact, I'm not supposed to show you her writing because that's supposed to be private. For those of you who read her in the coffee house, you know that her son died a couple of months ago, was it? And she's still pretty raw about that. And she decided she wasn't going to stay with the class, and I'm really sorry about that because she looked like a really interesting person to me. But if she's not ready, she can come back. Maybe I'll get her this summer. Or maybe she heard enough from me to know that she doesn't ever want to come back. I do history. Some people just don't like history. You know who you are.
It's not that I don't like it, I just don't.
That's not what you signed up for, I know. You want to take a creative writing course, and he wants you to do historical research? Well, my job is to teach you a bunch of tricks. Not to make you master of any of them, but right now, this is an introduction to creativity. How do we do these things? And history is a very powerful tool. Some of you will really get off on the history part, others won't. That's fine. I really like poetry. Some of you might not like poetry. I don't care. That's part of being creative though. One of the things that you do with poetry is you try to get your best ideas and compress them down into your very best language. And that's kind of hard. That requires discipline. Anyway, the calendar, I'm down to 10 seconds, so I'm going to close out this particular little film and say, if you have questions, write me. I'm always watching.